Make your calls. Make your calls and figure the rest out later. Do not try to learn everything, right? Do not sit here and read all these books and like listen to all these videos. Do that, but actually take action. Make your calls and make sure that you are following up with those calls. If you are not setting listing appointments on the initial call, set a follow-up call. And I promise you, those follow-up calls that you scheduled and set will turn into signed listings. Promise you.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, it's Aaron Wittenstein, and I would like to welcome you to Vulcan7 Roadmap. This is where we teach you how to take 2, 3, 4, just a lot of listings a month, okay? And we speak with agents across the country. We actually got someone here who I think is pretty special, okay? I think is pretty awesome. Alexis Scott from wonderful New Orleans, Louisiana. How you doing, Alexis?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So how long have you been selling real estate for?
I have been selling real estate for just under 2 years. It will be 2 years in May of 2024.
Okay, so you've only been doing this for less than 2 years, and from what I hear, you're doing pretty well for yourself. Like, what did you do today? Can you tell everybody what you did today?
Well, I got a listing agreement signed, so that's awesome.
And you tell them a little bit about how that came about.
Well, from calling expireds. So that's primarily what I focus on. I love expireds. As Jem from Take 52 group says, expireds are the lowest hanging fruit, right? They wanted to sell, but they didn't sell for whatever reason. And me being a newer agent, it's the easiest thing for me to sell because you call them and pretty much all the information is there. You just have to price it differently or market it differently.
Okay, hold on. Wait a second. Wait. I want to just not retract. That's not the right word. I just want to rehash what you just said. Did you say expireds and easy in the same sentence? Did I hear that? Did I hear that correctly?
They're easy to me. I know that they're not easy in general, but if you make enough expired calls and you land your scripts and you handle those objections that come up, they are easy to convert.
So what you're telling me, okay, from what I'm hearing here, is that when you practice, when you know what you're supposed to say, the low hanging fruit, the expireds, becomes a little bit on the easy. I've been doing this a long time, but very rarely do I ever hear someone say expireds are easy, which is like amazing breath of fresh air right there. Did I hear? I heard that right? Right?
Yes, sir. In my opinion.
That's absolutely amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So just kind of walk us through the path of how you started calling expireds. Like, how did that all begin?
Well, I was a new agent, and I thought that whenever I became licensed, I was going to have an influx of people come to me, and that did not happen. So I started YouTubing, because that's where I get all my information, on how to get leads as a real estate agent. And there was so much information, and a lot of it was not relevant to me. What stuck out to me was calling expireds. And so I started researching, how do you get the numbers to call expireds? And Vulcan7 came up. I did a ton of research, and I went ahead and I paid for Vulcan7. I was like, the ROI is fantastic for what you get. Me being a new agent, I had a very small budget, and I just started calling expireds because they said the numbers, if you make enough calls, you will get something. And I started in August of 2022 calling expireds. I scheduled 4 listing appointments for September of 2022. And of those 4 appointments, I got 2 listings signed. And I closed on both of them. And I was like, this is amazing.
So, all right. So right now, I'm just going to assume this is a consistent pillar of business that you're doing on a regular basis. Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct. This past month, I went on 4 expired listing appointments and I actually got all 4 signed. So my conversion rate has definitely gone up
So you went 100% last
for,
month?
for the month of March. Yes, sir, I did.
That's absolutely amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So, all right. So I got to ask here. Okay. How many hours a day are you calling right now? Are you doing like 2, 3, 4, 17? Like how many hours a day are you calling?
3 hours consistently every day. If I don't have any appointments for that day, then I will go to 4 hours.
So you're calling between 15 to 20 hours a week. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then out of 15 to 20 hours, that from what it sounds like, it should get you how many appointments set per month, per week would you roughly say?
Honestly, I don't necessarily set appointments the first time that I call them. It's all in the follow up for me.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about that. Like how does that look? So all right, so let's say, we get on the first phone call and yada yada yada, so on and so forth. And I'm like, I'm kind of interested. Okay.
Mhm.
But I'm not interested yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you because I think a lot of agents really get what's the word? Caught up in the follow-up. They're like, what do I
Mhm.
do? So like I say, you know what? Maybe like 2 weeks. What do you do from there?
Okay, so this is how it kind of goes when I get on the phone with somebody. I like to hear no 3 times before I settle for a follow up call. So when I get on the phone, my primary focus is to get a listing appointment. That's my whole goal. And a lot of times, of course, sellers say no. That's going to be their very first thing that they say. No, I don't want to meet with you. I'm frustrated with the process. That is what expired's main objection is. So then, I push for the appointment and they're like, nope, nope, I want 2 weeks. If they give me a time frame, I want to wait 2 months. I want to wait 4 months. I cut that time in half. So if they say 4 months, I say, okay, I'm going to follow up with you in 2 months. Is that okay? Because I want to set that expectation from the moment that I talk to them that I'm going to follow up with you and I'm going to be setting appointments of when I'm going to be following up with you, just as I would of scheduling an actual listing
Mhm.
appointment with you. I want to set that expectation from the very beginning that I set appointments, that I am the professional here. And they're like, okay, that sounds great. And I'm like, great. What time is 10 o'clock in the, well, I do my follow ups from 1 to 2 in the afternoon. So I say, is 1 o'clock on April the 6th a great time to follow up with you? And I actually have that scheduled right now. So they're like, yes, that's great. Okay, cool. Do you mind writing that down in your calendar or putting it in your phone? And I'm going to send you either a text reminder or an email reminder. What's best for you? And that's what I do.
I love that.
Hmm.
So what you're engaging them in the follow up, right?
Yep. Yep.
So you're actually saying I'm going to follow up with you on April 6th. Does that sound fair? And they're
Hmm.
like, sure, right?
Yeah.
And
They're
then
nice.
when they actually and then when they hear from you, it's like, wait a second, did you get a lot of people be like, I mean, do a lot of people expect to hear from you, or is how does that usually look?
No, they'll a lot of times whenever I do follow up with them, they're like, "Oh, yeah, you're that real estate agent. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name though," because they never remember my name. Sometimes they do. But they're like, "Oh, yeah." They're like, "Yeah, I still want to sell my house." And I'm like, "Okay." And I give them value when I follow up with them. I don't just say, "Hey, I'm calling because I said I was going to follow up with you. Do you still want to sell?" Obviously, they still want to sell. I say I say, "Hey, this is Alexis Scott. I'm the real estate agent who spoke with you 2 months
Can, can,
ago."
can, can can we play this out for a sec? Would you mind role
Yep.
playing this out real quick?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So give me a call. We spoke, and I said call me back in 2 months, so it's a month time period. Why don't we do that?
Okay. Okay. So ring ring.
Hello,
"Hey, is this Aaron?"
this is. How can I help you?
Hey, Aaron, this is Alexis Scott. I had spoken with you about 2 months ago, and I told you I was going to follow up with you today at 1 o'clock. Is this still a good time?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, you probably don't remember me. I know we had only spoken for about 5 minutes, but I'm Alexis. I had called you about your house because it was on the market, and I just wanted to follow up with you. I wanted to tell you that this home in your neighborhood just went under contract, and I also wanted to tell you that another home just closed last week. Are you still interested in selling your home?
Um, I think we are, but we're gonna sit tight for like another month because
Okay.
we want to make it work with my kid's school schedule.
Okay. Okay. That sounds fair. Another month. Well, a month, it comes up very fast. Would you like to sit down and talk about it? Just 15 minutes of your time. We can do tomorrow at 2 o'clock if that works for you. And we can talk about what I would do to sell your home just so that you have the information to use for later. Does that sound fair?
No, like I said, if you could call back in like a month, that would probably be the most beneficial.
Okay, I completely understand that. How about if I call you? I don't have my calendar in front of me. If I call you April the 16th, same day of the week, same time, 1 o'clock. Is
Sure,
that
sounds good.
okay? We will do that. I'm going to go ahead and send you over a link, and my name is Alexis, okay?
Sounds good.
All righty.
And then I'm just going to assume it's just rinse and repeat from there, right?
It is. Yep. Yep.
So with lead follow up, I love I think it's such a smart idea to actually, because once you get on their calendar, you're on their calendar, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's such a smart idea because then people remember you. And then I also like what you did is you led with value by sharing with them that like XYZ sold and 123 is under contract. Like it's such a smart, that's such a good idea. So if you had to guess, what percentage of your listings taken come from lead follow up? What percentage?
Definitely, it's high. It's 75 to 85% of my listings. I very unless it is sphere of influence or somebody who I know, my follow up and the listings that I've taken, I had to follow up with those people to get it. Some of it twice, some of it one of my listings I only had to follow actually two of my listings last month. I only had to follow up with the sellers twice. This listing that I just took today, I had to follow up with that seller 5 times. Sometimes it's 9 times.
And see, people, what happens is people, and I'm thinking you'll agree with me on this, is people expect to just come out of the gate swinging, right? You know,
Mm.
when it's like it just takes time. Like, so how long did it take from August of 22 to really find your stride, if you will? I think I have an idea, but I want to hear you say it.
It took me a long time. It
Yeah.
did. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a long time. I lost a lot of deals because of follow up, and that hurt. I was leaving money on the table.
There's nothing worse than when you've been following up with someone and you look, you're like, "Ugh." They
Exactly.
they list it, and then it happens again, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong?" And then, no, I love that you have a system down. So everybody, take in what Alexa said here about the lead follow up. Get on their calendar. Okay,
Mhm.
this just makes so much darn sense. This makes so much sense. So all right, so when you're following up, you went 4 for 4 on your appointments, right? Is that like what would you say is your conversion rate right now from listing taken or from listing appointment to listing taken? What would you say?
I would say it is 75% right now. I do not get all of my listings. I am not perfect. I don't think any of us are, but I would say 75%.
Okay. What are you, because that's a very good percentage rate of listings, taken.
Hmm.
What are you doing that separates you from the other agents out there?
So I, and I do just because I know that I was like this at one point. I would call somebody one time and they wouldn't answer. And I actually had this really bad habit, and my coach was like, do not do that, Alexis. But when somebody would not answer when I first started calling, and I didn't have a coach at the time, but I just would delete their number. Like, I was like, oh, they didn't answer, so they're not a lead. And so I would just delete their number altogether. And then I'm sure that y'all have heard about the follow up folder system. There's lots of YouTube videos on it. Jim at Take 52 with Vulcan7 has a YouTube video on this as well. But 7 to 9 folders, label it folder 1, folder 2, etc., all the way down to however many you want. And if those leads don't answer, you put them into the next folder. Call the new leads, then you call the leads in folder 2. Those who didn't answer in folder 2, you move them to folder 3, etc., etc. And that's what I do. I swear by that follow-up system. Those who I do get on the phone with, who I have set an appointment with, they go in my expired follow-up folder. And they also go on my calendar as well that I have. And I follow up with them. And I get listing appointments because of that.
It's really good. No, and like I said, I mean, because what am I trying to say here? Now, when you're actually on the appointment, okay,
Mhm.
when you're on the appointment, I think a lot of people, I see conversion rates 50% and below a lot of the time. Like,
Mhm.
other than being awesome, okay, because we all know you're awesome, you know what I mean? And I'm just going to venture to guess you connected with people very well. When you're actually on the appointment, what are you doing at a high level to make them consider working with you? What would be your secret sauce?
I do 3 things, and you would be amazed at how many sellers tell me. The other real estate agents who I interviewed with did not do this that you did. I have a listing presentation. I have these cool booklets that I have. It's just spiral bound. I mass printed them at every single quarter. I have a goal of how many listings that I want to take. So this past quarter for me was 10 listings. I didn't necessarily take 10 listings, but I had 10 listing presentations printed out in a spiral bound book. And it has what I do for marketing, what I do for pricing, and it explains my services to them. So I have that. I bring it in a paper form. And then in that booklet, I also have a seller net sheet. I get this seller net sheet from pre-qualifying them before I go in on the appointment. I never ever go on an appointment without pre-qualifying them first because I don't want to be surprised and I don't want them to be surprised, right? So if they are like upside down on a house, I don't want them, and that has happened to me before. I don't want to go into an appointment and I'm like, oh, I didn't know this, So I don't want to be surprised. And then the third thing that I do is, of course, have the comps printed out as well. Y'all would be shocked at how many agents do not bring like a presentation and a seller net sheet and comps, and they just like throw numbers out of the air and they don't even show sellers why they should be hired.
So what I'm hearing is be professional.
Yes, be professional. Dress like you want the appointment. Act like you want the appointment because every single day we are unemployed and we go on these listing appointments as a job interview. This listing agreement I just got signed this morning, she interviewed with 4 other agents, right? I I didn't just get this because I just threw numbers out of the air, or I was just, she was like, oh, can you show me where you can back that information up at? I don't want to be like, oh, no, I can't because I don't have anything to show you. Whether it's on your computer, iPad, or actual paper, you need to have something that shows sellers why they should hire you.
So once again, it's be professional, right?
Yeah,
And it's like put yourself together and have. And I don't think it matters what you have, right? As
right,
long as you have something, it's going to put you steps ahead of everybody else out there, right?
right,
And
right.
Yeah, it's just like, and the crazy part is you don't know it until you speak with someone. I just find that absolutely mind blowing. You know what I mean? That people, don't have the professionalism as much as they
Mm,
should.
yes. Yes. And then on top of it, I think what gets me a lot of listings, because I love circle prospecting, but I do tell sellers, hey, when you move into an area, or when people are looking to move into an area, normally neighbors like to move close to somebody who they know, like, and trust, right? In my neighborhood, I can tell you a lot of the people here, they're friends with their neighbors or their family with their neighbors. And so I do tell them, I'm like, I'm an active real estate agent. I circle dial the neighborhood. I actively call the homeowners in the neighborhood and I ask, who do you know who would like to, who do you know who is looking to move into your neighborhood? Family, friends, coworkers. And then, of course, when you start conversations with people, you get listings and leads from circle prospecting as well, So it all comes into fruition.
See, that's where the 3 to 4 hours a day goes, right? You got because I mean, there's more than enough stuff to call. You should never run
Mhm.
out, right?
Yep. And
No.
listen, babies.
So, all right. So let me ask you this. Let's say a new agent walks across your door, or walks across your office, knocks on your door, and says,
Mhm.
"Alexis, I hear you're amazing. I hear you've been doing this, and you're getting 4 out of 4 listing appointments. What piece of advice do you have for me? What do you got?"
I would say, who are you calling right now? I would ask you. I'd be like, who are you calling, or what are you doing for lead generation right now? And how long are you spending on that lead generation? Most of them are going to say, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. Or, oh, I'm spending like an hour, I tried calling, or I tried posting on social media, or I tried doing open houses once, right? Or for 1 week. And I would say, I want you to sit down and I want you to call, you know, through expireds or through FISBO. There's not really enough FISBOs in my market, but more so expireds or circle prospecting around an agent's listing. I would say I want you to start calling people and track it and follow up with those people who you have good conversations with. That's what I would tell them.
It's good advice. It's
I
just
mean,
good, solid.
you're going to get something. And with Vulcan 7's, y'all's, like the 30-day challenge where you have to attend 4 of the Take 52. I do tell new agents that all the time. I have new agents who come to me in my office all the time. And I'm like, look, if you don't believe in it, then why would they write this guarantee? Right? Why would they say, if you attend 4 Take 52 sessions and then call this many people and not set an appointment, like, it works, you know?
It does. It's
And
amazing
why,
what happened.
yeah, and why would I tell you to do this if I don't think that it works, right? I would be just like the agents who left the business and not believe in it.
It works when you put in the time and effort. It's magical what happens when it works, right? All right. So, final last words as we're gonna wrap up here. What do you got?
Make your calls and figure the rest out later. Do not try to learn everything, right? Do not sit here and read all these books and like listen to all these videos. Do that, but actually take action. Make your calls and make sure that you are following up with those calls. If you are not setting listing appointments on the initial call, set a follow up call. And I promise you, those follow up calls that you scheduled and set will turn into signed listings. Promise you.
All right, Alexis. Someone's moving to New Orleans. All right, and they need a phenomenal realtor. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, you can find me I have a Facebook business page, I have an Instagram, and I have a TikTok, and it's all Alexis Scott Realtor, all of it. I have all my information right there. I have forms that you can fill out. I have my number. I make it very easy.
Awesome. Well, we jammed a lot into this. This was amazing. Thank you so much. So I really appreciate you coming to hang out with us. Thank you very much. And everybody, do me a favor, go make some money. Take care of yourselves. Alexis, we will be in touch. All right, guys and girls, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.